Hey everyone, my name doesn't matter, but what happened to me last month does. I'm just an ordinary guy from Manila, someone who listens to stories like this on YouTube every night before bed. I never thought I'd be sharing one myself, but after what I experienced on that Jeepney ride home, I can't keep quiet anymore, because some things you see can't be unseen and some passengers aren't really passengers at all. It was a Thursday evening around 9:30. I just finished overtime at the office in Makati, exhausted, hungry, my shirt still damp, with sweat from the humidity. The streets were their usual chaotic self, honking horns, street vendors shouting, the smell of grilled fish and exhaust fumes mixing in the thick night air. I squeezed into a Jeepney heading toward Pasay, one of those old models with faded paint and a cracked plastic Virgin Mary on the dashboard. The fluorescent light inside flickered weakly. There were maybe 6 other passengers, a grandmother with shopping bags, 2 students with headphones, a construction worker covered in cement dust and sitting at the very back. A woman in a white dress. I didn't pay much attention at first. I handed my fare forward, leaned back, and closed my eyes. But then I felt it, a coldness creeping up my spine, even though the night was sweltering. I opened my eyes and glanced around. The woman in white was staring directly at me, not a casual glance. A fixed, unblinking stare. Her face was pale, almost luminous in the dim light, and her hair hung long and wet as if she just stepped out of the shower. Weird, but Manila's full of weird. I looked away. A few minutes passed. The Jeepney hit traffic near Buendia, crawling forward in stops and starts. That's when I noticed something else. The woman's lips were moving like she was whispering something, but no sound came out, and her eyes still locked on me. My stomach tightened. I shifted in my seat, tried to focus on my phone, but the screen kept glitching, the battery draining from 70% to 40 in seconds. Then the old grandmother beside me tapped my arm. She leaned close, her breath smelling of sampaguita, and whispered, "Don't look at her, Anak, don't engage." My heart hammered. "Who?" I whispered back. She didn't answer, just pressed a small pouch into my hand, a cloth bundle tied with red thread. "Keep this, pray the Namin now." Her voice was urgent, trembling. I wanted to laugh it off, but I couldn't. Because when I glanced back again, the woman in white was closer. She hadn't moved seats, she was just closer, like the space between us had folded. Her skin glistened with moisture, and I could see now that her dress wasn't just white, it was a hospital gown stained with something dark. Around the hem, her bare feet were caked with mud. The construction worker suddenly shouted, "Para, para," and banged on the roof. The Jeepney lurched to a stop, and he practically threw himself out, not even waiting for change. The driver yelled after him, confused. That's when I smelled it, the rotten, swampy stench of stagnant water and decay, so thick I gagged. The other passengers were covering their noses, looking around frantically, but they weren't looking at her. It was like I was the only one who could really see her. She smiled then, a slow, wet smile that showed too many teeth. And she started crawling forward, hands slapping against the metal floor, her body contorting in ways that made my vision blur. I heard the grandmother beside me praying in rapid Tagalog, clutching a rosary. My hands shook as I gripped the pouch she'd given me, and I stammered out the Lord's Prayer, my voice cracking. The Jeepney swerved suddenly. The driver cursed, saying he saw a dog run in front of us, but there was no dog. In that moment of chaos, I squeezed my eyes shut and shouted, "Para." "Para?" I stumbled out onto the street, my legs barely holding me. When I turned back, the woman in white was standing inside the Jeepney, pressed against the back window, her face inches from the glass, watching me. The driver pulled away, oblivious. I stood there shaking, people rushing past me, normal city life continuing like nothing happened. I looked down at the pouch in my hand. Inside was a small medallion of San Miguel Archangel and dried leaves. The old woman had vanished. None of the other passengers I remembered seeing got off at that stop. The next day, I asked my office mate Gina about it. She went pale when I described the route and the woman. She told me her uncle, a Jeepney driver, refuses to pick up passengers wearing all white late at night on that exact stretch of road. Too many drivers have reported accidents, mysterious illnesses, vehicles breaking down. One driver claimed a woman in white whispered his daughter's name, his daughter who drowned 3 years prior, I went to my grandmother's house that weekend. She's old school, knows about these things. She took one look at me and said I'd been marked, that I'd made eye contact when I shouldn't have. She performed a ritual with smoke and prayers, told me to wear the medallion always, and warned me never to ride that route after dark. Again, I haven't. I take a longer way home now, even if it costs more, even if it adds an hour to my commute. Because I've learned something: not every passenger is alive. And some spirits aren't just looking for a ride, they're looking for company on a journey you don't want to take. If you've ever felt watched on public transport late at night, if you've ever seen someone who didn't quite belong, trust your instincts. Look away, pray, get off at the next stop. And whatever you do, don't engage. Stay safe out there, everyone. And if something like this has happened to you, share it in the comments. Maybe we can warn each other about the routes to avoid. Because in this city, some roads carry more than just traffic.